Good morning from the Higher Grounds podcast, and thank you for joining me for another morning minute meditation. My thought this morning is on the ant. It's such an interesting little creature. It's only mentioned twice in the Word of God, both in Proverbs chapter 6 and then again in Proverbs chapter 30. In both instances, though, the ant leaves us an invaluable lesson of wisdom. In chapter 6, the writer is talking to the sluggard, tells him to consider the way of the ant. In chapter 30, you find the ant in a list of 4 creatures who are small, they're little upon the earth, but exceeding wise, is the way Agur put it. And there's just a lot of applications we could take from the wisdom that God gave an ant. One thing particular that I'm thinking about this morning, though, is a lesson on comparison. Specifically, in Proverbs chapter 30, Agur highlights the weakness of this creature. He says they're a people not strong. But one thing you'll find if you were to look at research and scientific evidence from an ant's life is that they're actually incredibly strong by comparison. It's said that on average, an ant can lift anywhere from 10 to 50 times its body weight. That's an impressive feat for such a small creature. But the problem is when you take a step back and you look at an ant and its strength compared to the entire animal kingdom, it really doesn't amount to that much. I thought about what Paul said in 2 Corinthians chapter 10. He talked about those that compare themselves with themselves. And he said they're not wise. Truth is, if an ant only looked at other ants and only looked at its size, it could say it's a pretty strong little creature. But when it takes a step back and it sees how small it is in the world, then it understands it's really not that strong. And that's why an ant knows to prepare all summer for winter that is coming. I think we could learn a great lesson from that. How many times do we compare ourselves with other people? And it makes us feel pretty good. But when you take a step back, you take a look in the Word of God, we realize we're really not as strong as we think we are. I hope that'll be something to think about this morning. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time on the Higher Grounds podcast.